Ever find yourself like walking past one of those AED things and just kind of like
Oh, yeah.
wondering what it actually does?
Totally.
Like I know it's important, but like how
Yeah.
important?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, today we're doing a deep dive on AEDs. We
Absolutely.
got some seriously interesting stuff here
Uh,
that we're going to like dig into. And like by the end of this,
sure.
I think we are going to feel a lot more confident
Yeah.
about like what to do in an emergency.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have that feeling when they walk by and they're like, I've seen those, but I don't know if I could use one.
Yeah.
So hopefully
Right.
we can equip people to feel
So
prepared.
first things first, what does AED even stand for?
It stands for Automated External Defibrillator.
Okay, so defibrillator.
Yes.
I mean,
Exactly.
I've heard that word like
Yeah.
in like medical dramas and stuff.
Exactly.
Is it as dramatic as they make it seem?
Yeah. It's dramatic in the sense that it's a serious medical situation, but it's actually a lot simpler than you might think.
Okay.
You know, in the movies, they always show them like rubbing the paddles together and yelling clear.
Yeah.
It's not quite like that.
Okay.
AEDs are designed to be used by anyone, even with no medical training.
So essentially, it's like a mini computer that analyzes heart rhythms and can deliver a shock if needed.
Exactly. It's like having a little expert on hand
Yeah.
to analyze the heart's rhythm and determine if that shock, that defibrillation, is necessary.
And that shock, that's what can potentially restart the heart.
Precisely. In cases of cardiac arrest where the heart has stopped beating effectively, that shock can be the difference between life and death. It's incredible, really.
It is incredible. So it's all about acting fast.
Absolutely. Every second counts in these situations. And that's why having AEDs readily available is so crucial.
This makes me think back to what we talked about with CPR.
Right.
It seems like these two things go hand in hand.
Right. They absolutely do. The source material actually emphasized that CPR is still the immediate action to take while someone's getting the AED.
So it's like CPR buys you time.
Exactly. It helps maintain some blood flow to the brain and other vital organs until the AED can be used.
Wow. It's like a 1-2 punch for saving a life.
That's a great way to put it.
This actually raises a question for me. If AEDs are so effective and they're not that hard to use,
Right.
why aren't they like standard first aid equipment everywhere?
That's a really good question. There are a few factors at play here.
Okay.
Cost is definitely one of them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
AEDs are sophisticated medical devices, and they can be pretty expensive.
Right. Anything else?
Training is another factor.
Oh, right.
While they're designed to be easy to use, people still need to know how to use them properly.
Yeah, of course.
And that requires training and potentially, some kind of like, I don't know,
Certification or not.
certification, right?
Yeah.
And that can be a barrier for some.
Right. So it's not just about having the device, it's about making sure people know how to use it.
Exactly. And the source material even mentions something interesting about how new technology, especially in life or death situations, often takes time to be widely adopted.
That's a really good point.
It's kind of like, I don't know, people were hesitant about seatbelts at first.
Right. It takes time for people to adapt and understand.
Exactly.
So with all this talk about how effective AEDs are,
Right.
one thing stood out to me from the stuff we've been looking at
Yeah.
is the part where they said that AEDs don't actually guarantee survival.
Right, right.
They just increase the chances.
It's true.
Why is it important to make that distinction?
That's a really important point because as amazing as AEDs are, it's crucial to manage expectations.
Right. So it's not a magic solution.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No medical intervention is foolproof.
Right.
There are so many factors
Well,
that can
sure.
influence the outcome of a cardiac arrest. And I think emphasizing that AEDs increase the chances of survival but don't guarantee it
Yeah.
helps paint a more realistic picture.
Right. It's about understanding the potential impact without overselling it.
Exactly. And, it's similar to how we talk about CPR, right?
Oh.
CPR is an incredibly powerful tool, but it's not a guaranteed save either.
Right.
The key takeaway is that both CPR and AEDs dramatically improve the odds of survival.
And that's what really matters.
Absolutely.
Reading all this about AEDs,
Yeah.
it's actually got me thinking about
Okay.
getting some training on how to use one.
I think that's a fantastic idea.
Do you think it's worth it?
Absolutely. Knowledge is power. And when it comes to potentially saving a life, that confidence and knowing what to do can make all the difference.
Right. I'm feeling much more empowered just having learned all this.
That's what we want to hear.
It's amazing how something as seemingly simple as knowing how to use an AED can potentially save someone's life.
It really is. And the more people who are equipped with this knowledge,
Yeah.
the safer our communities will be.
Absolutely. So we've covered what AEDs are, how they
Yes,
work, the impact they can have.
for sure.
But one thing that the source material mentioned was that they aren't always required.
Right.
So that kind of makes me wonder, in
But
what situations or locations would having an AED nearby be absolutely crucial?
that's a fantastic question, and it's something for everyone to think about.
It really is. It's been a really eye-opening deep dive
Absolutely.
into the world of
It
AEDs.
really has.